You're listening to XS Gaming Podcast, a podcast for gamers by gamers, with your hosts Xander Skullion and James Gruesome, bringing you something old, something new, and a little bit of nostalgia too.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of XS Gaming Podcast. This is episode 82. We're recording this on the 27th of March. It's Easter Sunday. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Skullion, and joined with me is James Gruesome. What's up, James?
What's up, everybody? Remember, tomorrow the Cadbury eggs will be way cheaper. All the peeps, the Easter candy, everything you want. It seems odd. It seems like Easter's usually in April. I don't know if it came early or it's just, maybe it's that whole leap year. Was it a leap year? I don't know. But it's Easter, and if you celebrate that holiday, I hope you're having a great one with your friends and family, if you're just kicking back with some games or whatever you may be doing.
Exactly. It really snuck up on me. I woke up this morning thinking it was Monday. I heard my phone go off. I guess it was Facebook. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, I gotta go to work. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's Sunday.
Yeah, see, you got the opposite of me yesterday. It was like my alarm went off, and I was like, why's my alarm going off? I'm like, it's Sunday. And I'm like, wait a minute. I gotta go to work, damn it.
So yeah, we decided to spend Easter doing a nice little podcast, and we got some good stuff to cover. Our main subject is going to be about cartoons we grew up with that we really enjoyed that had video games. We're going to be talking about games based off the cartoons we love. But before that, we are going to go into our gaming news. And man, gaming news it's been a crazy, like, it feels, this week in gaming news feels more like tabloid news than it does actual legit gaming news. And we have some legit stuff to talk about, and I'll go ahead and bring that up because I don't think we talked about it in the last episode. Did we talk about the PlayStation VR?
We might have briefly mentioned it about what we thought. I think at the time it was still listed as around $600. We've got a different price range now, and a lot of people are excited about it, so we might as well.
Yeah, it's going to be released at $400. Now, pre-orders for the PlayStation VR are already sold out. People have already pre-ordered it, and the one thing that people have been talking about a lot with the pre-orders is it comes with the VR unit, but they still have to buy the Move controllers and the PlayStation camera. It doesn't cover that. So, with that, needless to say, with that, PlayStation Move has went up in price like crazy on Amazon. People are already, stocking up on PlayStation Moves and trying to flip the market. It's inevitable that was going to happen, but
yeah, you get ones that want to get ahead, just to go ahead and get them because maybe they didn't own it before. Myself, I always kind of wanted to move, mainly for like the light gun type games.
Yeah,
and now that's a guy like me is not going to be able to do that. But a friend of ours, Ryan Cadaver from the Casket Creatures, who has been on the show numerous times, I know he's on the list. He got on it, so hopefully he'll end up being able to get one. I think it's cool. For me, VR, it's not the most exciting thing. I would definitely try it out, and a lot of people seem excited about it, and that's more important than just, my opinion, like, VR, whatever. People are excited. It's still something about gaming that brings it to the forefront, because, VR is something we've been talking about, and it's been mentioned just for years and years, and nothing ever really came of it, and it's going to be cool to see what this first, real obtainable thing for regular people to get is going to be like, because with the price $400, that's still up there, but man, that's $200 less than what was originally predicted, and more and more people are coming out with the VR stuff, so I'm just kind of looking forward to see how it turns out, and I hope people have a good time with it.
Yeah, I know some people are saying that even 400 is a little too much. I know that's too much for me. I'm going to wait for the early adopters to kind of give their opinions, especially, like Ryan. I'm going to wait to see what he says when he plays it. But to tell you the truth, $400 for this type of technology is actually not bad, considering that the other option that you would have is something like the Oculus Rift. And the Oculus Rift, you'd have to have a really high-powered PC just to play it. So, if you already have a PS4, this is something for you just to enhance your experience. It's $400,
and just think how time goes on. We're probably going to end up, with some type of bundle where you could get it all together, and get it, after it's been on the market for a bit, I'm sure, and everything's tested. If it's still going good, you'll be able to get a nice little bundle set with it all together for maybe a little bit more reasonable price than separately.
Exactly, and it's coming out in October, so that gives people plenty enough time. If you have the income, it's pretty obtainable to save up $400 in the next what is it like almost like 6 months or something.
Yeah, and don't support scalpers, guys. If you really want one, just wait. They'll be back around. If it sells out, it does good. It's inevitable. If they're selling, they're making money. They want to make that money off of you. So just wait around, man, and don't support those guys, marking that stuff up so high. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't condone scalping. And speaking of just crazy stuff online as well, a lot of stuff's been going on with Nintendo. A lot of rumors, and actually it was like 2 major rumors. They got debunked really, really quick. The first one was, of course, talking about the Wii U ceasing production in 2016. Now, in all fair sense, if, say, Nintendo was to cease production of the Wii U in 2016, it wouldn't really surprise me with the NX being right around the corner. And, even if a company ceased production doesn't mean that they're no longer going to be making games, and no longer means that the consoles are going to be pulled off the shelf, because it just means they won't be making anymore. We saw that with the Wii when the Wii U came out. They stopped with the Wii Mini, and that was it. But it wasn't like the Wii was a hard console to come by. You can still buy them new now.
Yeah, it's one. It doesn't really mean anything. Who's to say there's not warehouses full of them? Because a lot of you guys haven't gone out and bought one, so they're still going to be there. The Wii Mini, that one I don't really think did that good. It was just kind of a final little, grasp at it. But the Wii U's are still there. I don't think it's, everybody's going, oh no, they stopped. What is everybody going to run out and go buy one now they've stopped? It's like, you should have bought one before. It's a great system. Still going to be games coming out for it. Lots of big titles. I'm not so quick to, give up on Nintendo and bash them for things like that. I still always support them. At heart, man, I'm a kid. I'm still just going to love Nintendo, I don't think that, whether the rumor's true or not, that it's really anything that's going to affect anything at all.
Yeah, and Nintendo went ahead and debunked it, but at the same time, I think of it logically as well. If they were going to do this, at this time they wouldn't say they're going to do it anyway, because it would just be, because the rumor just showed a huge drastic turn on the consumers. People were just like, well, this is horrible, and of course Nintendo, if they were going to do it, they're going to say they're not going to do it just to save face. But I don't think there's anything to worry about. Now, also another Nintendo rumor was, of course, the NX controller. Man, it's funny that there's so much talk about the NX, but we don't really know anything about it. We really don't.
No, I like the mysteriousness of it all. It's just, what exactly is this? I really, it's kind of interesting hearing about it at first. It almost seemed a bit too soon, but now I'm behind it now, and I'm curious to see. I'm kind of excited about it. It's one I possibly, whether I have a PS4 by then or not, it might try to plunk down and try to get one. I'm really curious. Come on, 3DS, awesome. The Wii U, it's awesome too. For the people who haven't played one, it's like they've still not let me down. Overall, the Wii U as a system might be considered a bit of a failure to them sales wise, but this one could be the step back up just to see what's going to happen. I like it. I like the mysteriousness of it. Just waiting to see what's going to happen. All these rumors, people arguing, getting mad, angry. It's all just rumors, man. Just wait and see. It's going to pan out.
Exactly, and I will say thank God that controller wasn't real though, because that thing was like, okay, if for you guys who haven't seen it blow up on the internet, I mean it was crazy. It was pretty much it looked like a oval shaped rear view mirror, and had analog sticks on it that looked like they barely moved, and apparently it had no buttons. Like they were saying it was gonna be digital buttons, and
it looked like a modern LCD game or something. Like if you'd picture some Bobo Chinese crap that would come out like that.
Yeah, it would be like one of those, sophisticated Chinese bootleg handhelds that has 50 games of Snake.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank God that wasn't true. And, Nintendo's always done a good job with their controllers, so I'm not really worried about it. I mean, even the N64, some people pan that as the worst controller. It's not that bad.
Dude, I've been kicking some Mad 64 lately, and sometimes I forget when I start a game. I was like, okay, which way do I hold this? Because certain games I would play a different way. But it's just, I like that because it is unique. They've always had a uniqueness to their controllers, and whether you go to the last one, I mean, a step up to the modern era, the Wii U Pro. I mean, as far as modern controllers go, it's just that one's great. It's like whether they do something more out of bounds or whether they step it up to the current era, they've always got something that's great and comfortable.
Exactly, and I guess the last little bit of news we'll get into is talking about. I heard this on the CU podcast with Pat NES Punk and Ian. Really love that podcast, by the way. It's really informative.
Me too.
It's really good.
I love both their views.
But they talked about, apparently there was some sort of person that has 6 sealed copies of Stadium events.
That, and yes, they cheered on a guy like this because, the way, I learned a lot of stuff about collecting from him, from that show, and how that can affect the market, the fact that there are this many more, those people that think they're sitting on a gold mine. It's like video games aren't really investments. They're supposed to be fun. This can show you, I mean, you wouldn't think, but, 6 more sealed copies of that game truly can affect, the whole market on it. It's just, it's insane.
I tell you what, though, man, if I ever stumbled across Stadium events, sealed or not, that is a game I will not keep in my collection. I will take a picture of it, of me holding it, with a big smile on my face, and I will totally sell it, because...
Yeah, I've mentioned before, too, if I had that back then, I would have sold it as quick as I could and just, took my money and ran.
Yeah, because, I mean, and maybe some people hear that and they're like, man, he's not that much of a collector, but I'm sorry, man, some of the prices, people making $20K on it. Dude, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money I don't have.
We love games, but we're just dudes with jobs and debts. We need money too.
Exactly, So yeah, that's a little bit with the gaming news. I didn't know if you had anything you want to add in, James. Did you hear anything going on in the gaming world?
Just a little bit briefly, I guess, on this Sony PlayStation 4.5.
Oh yeah,
that exactly. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I've just heard mention of it. I mean, I could just imagine a bit of an upgrade, how they come out, when they went from the original model of PS3 that played everything to the next one. I don't know if it's going to do anything different. I don't know if it's just, dropping some features, adding some a different size. Have you heard anything else about it?
I haven't heard anything more about it. I mean, it's been pointing more towards the sources that this could be a thing, and this is what I'm thinking, because, I don't think Sony is stupid enough that they're going to make, games that are only compatible with the PlayStation 4.5 or the PlayStation 4K, should I say, because that's what they're saying, because apparently this is going to be a PlayStation 4 that can run 4K. So I don't think they're going to be making games that are going to be exclusive for that, because in all honesty, that would be like a big shot in the foot, especially with people that already have a PS4. And plus, if you don't have a 4K television, it's kind of pointless to begin with, because, you can't get the full the full advantage of the technology. But what I really think what they're doing is, I think what they're going to do is they're going to make it where you can stream videos, like say Netflix or stuff like that. Maybe have a faster CPU on that PlayStation.
So maybe just kind of like a new 3DS XL kind of extent of that.
Which they did this with the PS3. They did it with the PS3 when the original PS3 came out. That played PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. That was like a little 20 gig console, and then they phased it out because it was actually having problems with the fans. It was overheating a lot. So they came out with some other ones that had, a tad bit faster CPU to it, but it didn't affect the games. It still played well. It was just more durable and it lasted longer. My main thing is all 4K aside, if they do come out with a new PlayStation 4, I hope it has a bigger hard drive. That's all I have to say.
Well, there's already got the one that's, I believe, I don't know if it had come out or was coming out, that was going to have like the terabyte.
Yeah.
Which is one I was looking forward just to go ahead and getting, just due to that size. I've been running out of room on my PS3 for years, it seems. The more games there are, lots of great downloadable games, and they're getting bigger and bigger. Certain games, Yakuza, for instance, download only. When you have things like that, you need more space, and then I will say they straight up, gouge people, man, that Sony does with their damn Vita cards.
Yeah.
I just buy them whenever they're on sale. I got like 3 or 4. I don't have a huge one, just whatever one is cheap and on sale, I buy them. All kinds of different games, all kinds of different memory cards. It's confusing, and Sony, you guys kind of suck because of that, because those things are horribly expensive. So yeah, just definitely bigger hard drive space, and like you said with the games, it's kind of like I was asking my brother EJ about the Hyrule Warriors that came out on the 3DS, because he's got the new 3DS, and I was like, is it only on that? And he's like, I don't know. And apparently, no, you can only do the 3D on the new 3DS, but you can still play the game on the original 3DS.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. It really, I really don't think Sony's going to do that, though. I don't think they're going to, be like, oh, these new games now, you can either choose a PlayStation 4 version or a PlayStation 4K version. I think it would just flood the market and just really, it would be like Sega at that point.
With all the add-ons, yeah, and anything that's exclusive, it's too soon to do anything like that. I've heard speculation. I believe this too was on the CU podcast. Give them credit where I heard it, where they mentioned about maybe having upgradable systems. So you could have the last version of a system and just be able to upgrade it through bits and pieces and downloads and such like that. That I don't know for sure. I heard that on their show, but it's just, I don't think it's going to be anything major. Just a different look. Like maybe more space.
Yeah, and
that's about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to rant and get angry about it until I know more about it. Because like I said, a lot of this gaming news this week has all been rumors, and a lot of it's been debunked. And I've seen a lot of people just like fuss and argue and get in fights online over something that neither one of them know full-heartedly what's going on. So as of now, I think that everyone should, just enjoy the ride. And it's exciting to find out about these new ideas and rumors and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, but just don't take it to heart too much. Don't take it so personal. It's video games.
It's just games, man. It's just games.
Exactly. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to take a short break, and usually we play video game music on our breaks, but actually I'm going to be playing 2 little content listener shout-outs made by listeners from you guys of some YouTube channels you guys should definitely check out. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about cartoons and video games, so sit back, guys, and we'll be right back.
Hello everyone, and this is Battle Phoenix here, and I must thank the XSGAMING podcast for having me explain a little bit about my channel. So I mostly do game reviews for retro games and modern games for many different platforms. I also do pickup videos where I talk about games that I've recently obtained and get a conversation going about them. I also do various gaming discussions such as video responses, talk about video game music and gaming memories. Lastly, I'll mention is that once a year I do an anime feature where I take a look at different animes from different eras. So that sums up my channel, and I thank you for tuning in to the XS Gaming Podcast, and as Xander always says, happy gaming.
Hello everyone, this is Brandon Hayes. I'm a fairly bad gamer, and so is my brother, Anthony Dinar. Together, we record a gaming show on YouTube called Low Score. What can you expect to see from watching our content? Well, a whole lot of death and failure certainly, but hopefully the humor of it all will keep you entertained regardless. So come check us out. New episodes get released every Friday. For more information, visit torturevision.com.
And we are back, guys, and that was some content listener shout-outs right there from listeners like you guys. Be sure to check out their YouTube channels. BioPhoenix, Chris, he's a good friend of mine. He does a lot of, like he explained, he does a lot of pickup videos, and he talks a lot about JRPGs, and once a year he does cover his anime segment. That's really, really cool. And another channel that was sent to me was from Torture Vision. And that's a really interesting channel because they do a lot of Let's Plays as two brothers. And what's really interesting about it is they're not that good at video games. And they say that. And I think that's kind of cool because I know when I started doing Let's Plays, I was kind of intimidated because I'm not the best gamer in the world. And, there's a common misconception that when you do Let's Plays, you have to be really good at a video game. And to be perfectly honest, sometimes watching those Let's Plays where people aren't the best and they can, poke fun at themselves, those are really, really fun to watch. I really enjoy those.
And the fact is we're all human. We all mess up. We're not perfect. And sometimes, too, I think that could help for people that watch videos. You don't have to be great. Whether if you want to post a video, podcast, whatever you do, it's like you don't have to be perfect. It's all a learning experience for everyone, no matter what you do. You might as well try if it's something you wish to do.
Yeah, and they did do a Mary-Kate and Ashley game, James. They did the horse racing one on the GameCube.
Oh wow, yeah, that one's I've stuck to the Game Boy on those. The horse racing. How did that one seem? Not to say I wouldn't try this if it was cheap enough and I saw it.
It was interesting, that's for sure. I mean,
I'm a Barbie guy, though. Remember, I'm a Barbie guy.
Yeah. It's so funny too because I'll tell people, I'll sit there and I'll look for games in the wild or something, and someone will pick up like a Game Boy Barbie game. They're like, "Oh, Barbie!" I'm like, "Dude, that's actually a pretty good game." They're like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "It's actually pretty good." That was like, and this kind of goes in our segment about cartoons. Video games based off cartoons. I went to Goodwill. About 2 days ago. I had to get a new lamp for filming because one of my lamps messed up. So I just went there and I wanted to just pick up like a cheap lamp. I found one for like $4. It worked out great, but I decided, while I'm here at the Goodwill, I'm going to see if there's any video games. And I haven't really been able to find games at Goodwill for a long ass time, and I actually found a SpongeBob game on the DS. I haven't played it yet, but the SpongeBob games, I know, like, from Metal Jesus Rocks YouTube channel, like, he does a lot of shout-outs to the SpongeBob games, and he actually says they're pretty good, and they look pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, I had a Drawn to Life one, because I had the original Drawn to Life, and I found a SpongeBob one pretty cheap. And, I mean, those games to me are just they're really pretty damn cool, and, I think I gave that one to my niece, just because she had gotten a DS recently, and, it seemed what game more appropriate to her, be kind of cool, where you can draw the things, but, man, you never know with the games like that, they're hit and miss. Some are really outstanding, and sometimes they get you, like the movie games, but, hey, I missed out. I got so excited, when I picked up, one thing I'll talk about later that I got, but they had a Drake and Josh game on DS, man, for $2, and I didn't get it. I'm kind of disappointed. I gotta go back.
I'm pretty sure it's still there.
Yeah, it was the last time I was there prior to, so I'm getting that next time.
It's always good to kind of broaden your horizons and kind of try games that You know, especially if they're cheap. Like that SpongeBob game was like $2. And I'm like, really, if it's that terrible of a game, I only wasted $2. I mean, what's the worst? I mean, that's change you find underneath your couch, you know? So, I mean, if it turns out to be a good game, then I scored. And sometimes that's good, you know? If you see a game that you're not sure about, sometimes it's good just to do that blind buy, especially if it's cheap.
Yeah, with the right price, you never know. To me, if I sit there, I spend $1 or $2, and I mean, that, you know, to some people, yes, it is a lot of money. Most of us that play and collect video games, $2 is not a whole lot of money, honestly. And if I can spend that, as long as if I have, you know, a really good time for 20 minutes, even an hour, and I spent $2 to $5, like, that's almost worth it to me if I never play it again. I just really enjoyed it for that length of time. Like, whatever, done. That's, you know, I guess maybe kind of the sense of enjoyment people get from mobile games sometimes. It's just that little quick fix of it. But sometimes $2 is definitely worth it, especially for something, a lot of these kid show type games. I bought one, I think it's like Kung Zhao or Kung Zhu. Really cool, kind of fun. I'm not going to say really cool. It's kind of cool. Just DS little platform game based on some cartoon kid show I never heard of, because there's so many nowadays that shows me and you don't watch, and even me and you grew up, we have a lot of the same cartoons you grew up with, but we have a little bit of an age gap, so, you know, we got a little bit of different ones too, but there's a lot of ones we don't even know about, and to pick them up and play those games, you know, ourselves now, it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, okay, you know, maybe that show is kind of cool for kids. Maybe not for me, but I'll play this game.
Yeah, I'll tell you, speaking of cartoons and video games, the Kung Fu Panda game on the DS is actually a lot of fun. Which I love Kung Fu Panda. Like, I watched Kung Fu Panda 3 not too long ago, and it was hilarious. I just think they're fun movies. And
I had the Wii one, the Wii version.
How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty fun too. Like, I think I gave it to one of my friend's sons, you know, because he was really into it, and I was just like, he's gonna play this more than me. But it was pretty fun. If you enjoy the movie, it's one of those type of games. You know, if you like the movie, you get it, which I really did too. It's like the game is gonna be, well, maybe not technically great. It's gonna be tolerable and kind of fun for you.
Now, what's it? I hate to put you on the spot, James, but if there was a cartoon-based video game that you would say was like one of your favorites, which one would that be?
Oh, Pac-Land.
Of course.
That's a very cheap answer for me to give, I know. But just going back to my early days, you know, as a kid watching cartoons, you always wanted to play a video game.
Yeah.
That looked like the cartoon. Pac-Land, I read from an interview of one of the guys that worked on it, was they gave them the cartoon and said, we want this. So, you know, in a sense, while the cartoon was based off of Pac-Man, Pac-Land was based off the cartoon. And to me, it just had that look as far as the, you know, the graphics, it felt like I was playing that show. You know, the early ones for me, that Smurf on the Atari, while now it's, you know, but back then it seemed, you know, just more, it just had that kind of vibrance, you know, that went along with those cartoons. He-Man, and the thing, a lot of these Atari ones to me, I don't think are really that great. Well, Pac-Land to me is still a really good game. So I don't really feel so cheap actually in giving that answer. You know, that's an awesome game. I don't care.
It is a good game, and I didn't play that game until we started doing a podcast together, and you were like, Pac-Land, and I'm like, Pac-Land, you know? And, you know, I've played a lot of Pac-Man games, but I never played that one, and I remember I downloaded the arcade ROM, the MAME ROM for
Oh, wow,
it.
you got to play the arcade one, too. Yeah, I was going to say, because you got the TG16 version, and then you got the Famicom version. Both those are different. You know, they've all got, I'm trying to think of which one is a little bit more like the arcade. I think the Famicom one might be a little bit more like the arcade.
Didn't they have one on the TurboGrafx as well?
Yeah. They had the TG16. That's the very first home version I played. I really wish we had gotten it on the NES, but they got it in Japan. And my brother EJ, he had the Famicom cart, man, and he gave it to me because he knows I fucking love Pac-Land. And it's great because they're both different. The TG16 looks a little better, but I gotta say there's something with the gameplay I like a little bit more on the Famicom version. And it's just, I don't know, that was one of the first ones I could say I think that kind of a bit more perfectly, in a sense, translated as a cartoon to a game without really letting me down.
I tell you, one that was really, really good, and that is, when Disney movies would come out, Capcom and Disney made some fantastic video games, especially on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Like Mickey Mouse's House of Illusion. It plays so well, and think about games like DuckTales. Still to this day, people love DuckTales. There's just something about it.
DuckTales is while maybe I could say Pac-Man overall might be maybe my favorite, and it really has a lot with that nostalgia. Being a kid is really attached to that. But as far as the best, man, DuckTales, from the music, they nailed that visual aspect, the emotions that Scrooge would do, when he'd get stuck in a hole or just anything, he'd get hit. It's they just nailed it so right with that game. I mean, and you can see games like Shovel Knight, now influenced by ones like that. Just, man, that series, whether it was the Little Nemo, which I didn't know about the Little Nemo animated movie. I actually bought it on VHS not long ago, and I keep meaning to watch it. But, that was another game in that series. It kind of felt like you had that with the Little Nemo, DuckTales, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Oh man, Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers is probably one of the funnest co-op games on the NES. It is so much fun.
If you love DuckTales, and then most likely you watch DuckTales and you watch Rescue Rangers because they came on after each other. That comes out, you get it, and they hit you up after DuckTales, as fun as it was, and they give you co-op. Nonsense like Double Dragon 2. Or maybe Contra, it's just fun co-op as you got in Rescue Rangers.
Exactly, and man, one of the hardest games, actually, in my opinion, one of the hardest games I ever played was on the Super NES, and that was Lion King. That game is tough.
Lion King is a tough one. Those series, once again, when they brought out with all that, new renaissance of Disney, and they hit up all those games, with Lion King. Yeah, that was a tough one. They hit you with Aladdin.
Oh, yeah. Now, with Aladdin, did you like the Super Nintendo version or the Sega Genesis version better? Because there were two different games.
Yeah, oh, man. It's, that one's kind of tough. Just because I probably played it more, I'd probably still go with this. Man, I don't know. But the Genesis one, after playing it, was really good.
Yeah, because see, the Genesis one, I remember the big thing about the Genesis one was just the way the graphics look. Because the graphics on the Genesis version was just something special, and I really enjoyed it, but I really loved the Super Nintendo one. That was the one I did beat. I didn't beat the one on the Genesis, but I remember a buddy of mine let me borrow Aladdin on the Super Nintendo. And I believe that one is not by Capcom. I believe it's made by a different company.
Yeah, I want to say the Genesis one maybe was Virgin did one of them.
Yeah.
And, or did Virgin do both, or did two different companies?
I think they're two different companies.
That wouldn't make sense with them being, two different games. But, man, I'm not too familiar with the Little Mermaid game. I know she had one, too.
I hear a lot of people talk about that. I have it on the Genesis, but I hear the NES version of Little Mermaid is actually really good.
That one, and you get some. I take it. Here's another one. A lot of people forget about. Really cool. Gargoyles.
Oh, geez, yeah. I was. I went out and had coffee with this chick that I met not too long ago, and we were talking about video games, and she was like, yeah, I have a couple of retro games, and I'm like, yeah, what do you have? And she was like, well, my favorite one I have is Gargoyles on the Sega Genesis, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
Because that game's actually, I don't want to say it's like rare or uncommon, but it's a game that's really sought after by the retro community because it is a really good game. And Gargoyles, the cartoon, was freaking awesome. I remember I got the Gargoyles VHS movie when they came out with the Gargoyles movie, and what was really fun is at the end of the movie they actually had like an interactive like board game. Like when you bought the movie, it came with like a little board game, like a little cloth map, and you have little pieces, and you would watch the movie and you would play the board game corresponding with the VHS tape. It was really, really cool.
Man, I'm going to go a little back further. It's not a game, but there was a movie called Gargoyles from 1978. Where these people, find a cave, these gargoyles in Texas that just want to be left alone. But, at the time, it's a made-for-TV movie. The makeup and everything was, looked really cool for the 70s. It's just one I remember. And I remember the Gargoyles cartoon, being really cool. And I didn't play the game until, later on when I started collecting more. And I was just like, Gargoyles. And, you play it and it's like, wow. Like, that's another one that really hit it. A lot of those, early cartoon games, I feel it's like maybe not the same now because there seems like there's so many. But back then, it's almost, especially if it was a Capcom one, but most of those cartoon games you knew you were getting some quality, like really outstanding games. One I didn't play till later in life was Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah.
It's another one I often think of as a Konami game, but it's not. It's a Capcom, and I don't really remember watching the cartoon. I don't know if the cartoon was based off a comic, but man, the game, was just very, very solid.
And maybe this is something I shouldn't say that, because it wasn't really kid friendly, but hell, all of us watched it. But the Beavis and Butthead games.
Man.
I mean,
I was going to bring them up if you weren't.
Yeah, freaking, playing as Beavis and Butthead and gathering pieces of tickets so you can go to a Guar concert was just freaking awesome. And they had all the puns and all the boss fights that made you think of the cartoon. You had a fight with the gym teacher, and you'd have to help out the hippie.
Guar is actually at the end. Odorous kicked me in the head. It was the coolest thing ever. I beat the Super Nintendo version. The Genesis one I know is a little different. I'm not sure in what way. And there's a Game Boy one I got not too long ago that I absolutely loved. And it's also different. And then one of my favorites, I found these at Big Lots. They were $1 a piece, and it was for PC. It's called Bunghole in One. And I bought about 5 or 6, and I gave them away as gifts. And I still have one. And I remember playing it. It was kind of like, did you ever play a GeoGolf in school computer class? It's kind of set up like that, but you have the different courses, the different characters, and it's just got little crazy things. It's like crazy golf. Definitely a good one. All the Beavis and Butthead ones, I thought, if you like the show, while maybe not the greatest games in the world, they were definitely fun and stayed true to a lot of the humor.
Yeah, Bunghole in One. Yeah, that was. I'm looking at it. Apparently, there's a lot of Beavis and Butthead games that came out. A lot of them on PC.
Virtual Stupidity.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead Do You.
Yeah.
And Little Thingies.
Little Thingies.
And here's one that was in Japan only. That one was Virtual Stupidity. It was on PlayStation in Japan only. And then on PC was Wiener Takes All. Oh my gosh, I need to go and see if I can find these games on.
If you can, yeah. Bunghole in One, everybody that we actually all sat and a bunch of friends of mine, we played through it. And even if you only play it once, it's very fun. It's not hard. Each course, it's got Mr. Van Driesen, Buzzcut, everybody. I don't know if you play as them, but it's just all the references playing through one, especially for $1. You know, it's like Big Lots. All these games for $1, and everybody that played it, you know, enjoyed it. So there's got to be some way to, you know, find those online and play them. It's definitely worth checking out.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check that out because I mean, I never even I always knew Beavis and Butthead like on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. I didn't know that he had all these PC games too.
I think there's a Game Gear one too.
Yeah, there is. That's insane. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I loved Beavis and Butthead when I was a kid. That was probably one of my favorite cartoons. And it was always like kind of a treat that I could like stay up a little later and watch it, you know, with my sister. I was like, yeah, I get to watch this, you know, adult cartoon. And it wasn't that adult. They just, you know, they did things.
Yeah, you know.
You ever played frog baseball?
I have a frog baseball shirt. Actually.
Oh man, that is awesome.
It's from back then too. Like, it's a true retro shirt.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it was just, man, that was just a crazy time when that came out. You don't have anything quite like that anymore.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of adult cartoons based going into video games, you also had the South Park games as well, and the South Park games were like a hit and miss. You know, you had South Park on the N64 that was like the first person like shooter kind of thing that you threw like the snowballs and you had
turkeys.
You had the bazooka turkeys and stuff like that, and then you had, you know, some of the racing ones like South Park Rally. The one that was really weird was South Park Chef's Love Shack. You remember playing that one? It was like a trivia show.
Yeah. I remember that one.
And of course, like the best one that was released not too long ago is South Park Stick of Truth. I mean, that really. When Stick of Truth came out, I admit I don't watch that much South Park anymore. It's not that I grew out of it; I just, you know, quit watching. I just didn't watch any more of it. But you know, I heard so many people talk about Stick of Truth, and I was just like, I'll go check this game out. And my friend Devin, like, he had just beaten it, and he didn't want it anymore, and he was like, hey, I'll sell it to you. So I ended up buying it off of him. And yeah, it is such a great South Park game. It's so crude and rude and politically incorrect, and it looks like you're in the South Park cartoon. And it's got a lot of, like, it's actually a really good RPG, like a JRPG, and I love the fact that when you go to Canada, it goes in 8-bit and looks like Dragon Quest. You know, it's all like 2-dimensional and top-down when you go into Canada, and it even changes the music. I was like, man, this is really cool. Also, you remember playing Speedy Gonzales on the Game Boy? Did you ever play that?
You know, I didn't play that one. I do remember the Death Valley Rally on the Super NES, the Roadrunner game.
Oh, yeah.
That was another spell where the games, you know, they looked, I think, really good, but, you know, play control. I think Death Valley really kind of tried to be a little bit like Sonic, but just didn't really pull it off. You know, they looked good. The Marvin the Martian game on Game Boy or Game Boy Color, though, I'm a really big fan of that. That's one I got recently. How was the Speedy game? Was he fast like Sonic 2? Or?
Yeah, it was like a little platformer. It was fun. I played it when it was one of those games I borrowed from a kid when I was little. We would you know, borrow games from each other, and that was one of them. I was like, yeah, you know, I'll let you borrow Kirby's Block Ball, you know, and I'll play this. And man, one game that I did not like that was on the PlayStation 1 was Rugrats. I love Rugrats, the cartoon. I grew up with that. I really love that cartoon, but it seemed like Rugrats games always sucked, man. The controls were horrible. The camera was bad. The graphics made them look even more creepy. Because Rugrats, they do look creepy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The animation's really, really weird. And I got a funny story with the Nickelodeon cartoon games. Is they actually had a contest for Rocko's Modern Life. Of the video game. It was like looking for Spunky or something like that. And I remember, like, in order to win the contest, you had to watch the Stick Stigley show. And if you guys remember that, the little stick, and it would be like a certain part during the show that Spunky would run by, so you'd have to write down what time he ran by and what show was on, and you had to mail it off. And I remember watching Hey Dude, and I could not stand Hey Dude. I was more of a salute your shorts kind of person. And I remember watching Hey Dude just so I could see Spunky run across the screen and try to win this game.
Yeah, Salute Your Shorts was better than Hey Dude.
Yeah. Freaking Salute Your Shorts was awesome. It had the kid from Terminator 2 in it, the ginger.
Buttnick.
Yeah.
I know. Something with another game I remember, it seems like they finally got right. It was Transformers, with Transformers Devastation.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
They finally got the right. They've had many over the years. Beast Wars on 64. There was a couple. I played a fairly decent one on the PS3. I don't know. It was like Fall of Cybertron, maybe. That one seemed okay, but we never got one on the Nintendo. But there was a Famicom version.
Yes, and it was horrible.
Transformers, yeah. I played it and died within 3 seconds. And I think I was just like, what the hell?
It was the best thing about that game was when you press start and it said robots in the skies. That was about it.
Yeah, it's just, man, it's a really brutal game. And it's funny it took them that long to finally nail it. Because, the Devastation, it's pretty hard, like, to me. Like, I'm having trouble with it. But, it just looks amazing. Like, if you're a fan of the old cartoon, very hard to go wrong with that one.
And of course, you had The Simpsons as well. Simpsons had a lot of games, from, like, I'm looking at the list right now. You have, like, Bart Simpson's Escape from Camp Deadly. That was on the Game Boy. The Itchy Scratchy game, Krusty's Funhouse. Of course, the inevitable The Simpsons Arcade, a Konami classic. And a couple of PC ones like The Simpsons Bart House of Weirdness, Bart versus the Space Mutants. I actually really liked that one.
Wow, you like that one? Man, those were they were another one to me. The first one that kind of got it right was The Simpsons Road Rage.
Ooh, yeah.
Total Crazy Taxi ripoff, but it nailed it. And then when they came out with the, what's the one? It's like The Simpsons GTA.
Yeah, it was Road Rage.
No, Road Rage is the Crazy Taxi. The one that came after that, it was kind of like GTA.
It's like Hit and Run?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That one, just had like everything. It was like they finally kind of got those right at the end. I could see as a kid playing, I really tried to like Space Mutants. I'm not sure if I did or not. I tried,
Yeah, I really liked it as a kid. And I also liked, do you ever play the Simpsons wrestling game on PlayStation?
Oh, man, the skateboard, wow. The skateboarding one is like the complete shits. The wrestling one, as bad as it is, it's tolerable, but the skateboarding one is so bad.
Yeah, Simpson games were one of those, it was either good or it was bad. There was really no in between, it seemed like.
Yeah, mostly bad.
But there was a lot of just going back to Disney. Looking at those, one I definitely want to shout out is the Kim Possible games are actually really good. Especially Kim Possible on the Nintendo DS. If you see that in the wild, and I'm pretty sure if you see it in the wild, it's going to be dirt cheap. Get it. It's a really fun platformer. Also, one of my favorite arcade games is actually based off a cartoon. That's G.I. Joe Arcade.
G.I. Joe, that one's another one. The arcade, I remember playing it, and the Nintendo version, I'd saved up like a jar of change, and it was one that was $38 instead of $50. It was a little cheaper than normal, and I went and got that. And I really, really enjoyed the very first G.I. Joe on NES. You could play between, I think it was like Duke, Snake Eyes, Roadblock, a couple of other ones, and when you died, they were gone. Blizzard or Bloat or Snow Job. He was on there too. And, he was good for the ice levels, but when your character died, he was gone for, like, the rest of the game. They all had different abilities. And, the second one was, like, the Atlantis factor. And I think it was, like, published by Capcom. I don't think they made it. It was not very good. The first one was maybe, like, Taxon. I think put that one out. And, I mean, that one I thought was really great, but the second one not so much. But the arcade, that kind of had that. Was it kind of like behind the back view?
Yeah. It was, it was behind view, and it was just like, it was like an on-rail shooter. Like, you controlled the crosshair that you would shoot, and you would shoot all, like, the Cobra soldiers and stuff like that. It was really fast-paced. It had a really good soundtrack and a lot of voice simulation as well. Like, you'd hear a lot of, "Whoa, Joe!" stuff like that. It was fun. Unfortunately, it never got released on a console, but you can play it through MAME, which that's what I've been doing. I've been just playing on my laptop now. I did want to go into listener feedback. We did get some because we haven't done listener feedback in such a long time, and we asked the listeners, what are some of their favorite video games based off cartoons, and we got some good responses. James says Darkwing Duck on the NES. Oh man, that's a really good one. That's like it's like a Mega Man game. Darkwing Duck on the NES, Bucky O'Hare on the NES and arcade, and of course Teenage Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade on the NES. You can't talk about cartoons based off video games without mentioning TMNT.
Yeah, that was another one. After playing the first one and. Well, I think, for what it was good. The one that you really wanted to play was, TMNT 2, the arcade game, because it was like the arcade game. And, it just had that comic look. And while, all the Turtles really much played the same, it had that great feel. It was fun, co-op, gave you a couple extra levels. I got that one for Christmas one year. Very hard to go wrong with that game.
All right, and we also got Chris, BioPhoenix, who we just did a shout-out for. He says, Wacky Races on the NES. It's fun, and yes, it's not a racing game, weirdly enough. Now, did you ever play Wacky Races? I don't think I've ever played that one.
I saw his comment on that, and I tried to, looked up some on that. It seems like maybe you go on, little missions. I did play some game that had those characters that they all seem to race around in a circle. So that had to have been a different one since, the one he mentioned isn't a racing game. And they do have one on the Wii that's a racing game. But I'm not sure. I'm really curious about this one, that he mentioned. I'm going to have to see if I got it on my emulators and try it out.
Yeah, let me get to some more because let's see, I'm pulling these all on my phone. Matt says if you're talking on the anime side of animation, which we haven't touched base on, he'd say that Ghost in the Shell on PlayStation 1, Record of Lados War on Dreamcast. Yeah, I've never played that. Macross 30 on PS3. I haven't played that. I'd like to try it out. Gundam Breaker on PS3. Fist of the North Star on PS2. Otherwise, DuckTales on NES. TMNT Turtles in Time on the Super NES. Transformers Devastation on PS4. X-Men Arcade, and Biker Mice from Mars on the SNES. I loved Biker Mice from Mars. That was a really good beat 'em up.
Man, I need to try that one out. I'm not too familiar. I know he mentions Fist of the North Star on PS2, which I'm assuming is Japan only.
I played the 360 one, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the 360 one, and then there's a sequel. There's one that came out on both PS3 and 360, and the sequel on hard copy is 360 only. It plays a lot like the first one too. I thought those were really cool. The NES one was kind of The Game Boy one I enjoyed. I know they had a Master System one that was under a different name. The Fist of the North Star games have been around for a long time.
Yeah. They've been around since the Famicom. I mean, actually, a launch title for the Sega Genesis, The Last Battle, that's the Fist of the North Star game over here.
Yeah, that's it. They took out the exploding heads and things like that.
Jared Brady says that the South Park games are really good, which we talked about that. Chris, Weekend Game Guy, said Widget for the NES. Now, did you ever play Widget?
No, I might have, but I'm not sure about that one at all.
I'm not familiar with that one. Some of these I wish I would took the time to look up some of the YouTube videos and kind of see some of the gameplay. Now, Altona Melendez, she totally left a long comment, but I'll go ahead and say everything she says. She says Thunderbirds on the NES, not a good use of the license being a shooter and all, but a fun game. I love the show. Zillion on 1 and 2 on the Sega Master System.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are really fun. And the Sega Master System's Atrix games are everything I love about 2D platformers. The first pretty much rekindled my love of retro games at the time when I was feeling burnt out. Sure, the third game also got a Genesis release, but I'm more of an 8-bit and viewed the 3 as a trilogy for the Sega Master System. While on the Sega Master System, Castle and Land of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse, are fantastic standout games as well. More modern, the game based off the movie Brave is a lot of fun, and the newest Snoopy game is great for old school platformer fans like myself, but the game got written off as a cheap movie tie-in grab. So sad. The Snoopy games are a lot of fun, and they did come out with a brand new Snoopy game on the Wii U. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but the Red Baron Snoopy games,
that one's a great one. I have, let's see, there's the Silly Races or something on the NES, where I know you're racing in a sack. Silly Olympics is something. There's a Snoopy's Magic Show on Game Boy, I think. There's I'm a big Peanuts fan, so I have most of those, and I will probably check out the game at some point. I just bought the movie recently. I haven't watched it yet, so I'm probably going to watch that this weekend. I've heard it's actually really good.
Yeah. I really love the Peanuts game. They did a great job. Jason, he says Sega Genesis had great Disney games made by Virgin, and Ian says Earthworm Jim on the SNES. Now Earthworm Jim was a game before it was a cartoon, but they came out around the same time, so I definitely will take that. And the Earthworm Jim cartoon was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. The same voice actor did Homer Simpson did the voice of Earthworm Jim.
Oh, wow.
It was really cool. Tyler says, can't go wrong with TMNT, Turtles in Time for the SNES and the arcade, and X-Men Arcade. And Kid Shuriken, Jim from our last episode, he says, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, even though it's more based off the comic book, at the time I associate it with the cartoon series, and it's one of my favorite 16-bit games. And I agree with that, man. The freaking Mutant Apocalypse on the Sega Genesis was so fun. Welcome to Die! About Magneto. That was a lot of fun.
They managed to have some really good ones there on the Genesis.
Definitely.
There was, some I know there was like the when I think on the Batman, what was it, Batman and Robin? It was one of the Batman games, I think, that was based on the cartoon on Super NES, Adventures of Batman and Robin, maybe. That was a really good one, too.
Oh, yeah, I've really enjoyed that one. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, and of course, the last one is from Sean. He said, I laughed my ass off at Stick of Truth, but Gundam Wing Endless Duel is a great fighter on the Super Famicom. And that's, I agree with that. I played that through emulation. And that's one game that, if you get on the Super Famicom, that you don't really need the no Japanese to play. It's just a straight up 2D fighter, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I think we're going to move to games we've been playing recently. But before that, is there any other last cartoon video games you want to talk about, James?
I played this one game based on a comic strip called BC and the Quest for Wheels on the Atari. It was horrible. Just try it out sometime. The Maui Mallard, I enjoyed that one on the Super NES. I guess like the kind of Kung Fu Donald Duck.
Oh yeah.
We never had a Thundercats game. They got one on the was on like the Commodore 64. It might have been, I don't know, it was here, it might have been in Europe only. They actually had one. It didn't really look, that great. But, another one too that I played just, within the past, while back was the Felix the Cat game on the NES.
Oh, yeah. That was covered recently on episode Metal Jesus. John Riggs. John Riggs is an awesome dude. He does a lot of homebrews and whatnot. But he was on there for the NES Gems Part 2, and that was a game that he talked about was Felix the Cat. That game's actually going up in price, too, which is kind of unfortunate, because it's a lot of fun.
It is. This is just a really fun game. You wouldn't think it, That's a really old cartoon, but man, that's a damn good game.
Indeed. And going to games we've been playing recently, my list is going to be kind of short because I've been mainly just playing 2 Wii U games as of late. Pokken Tournament, I actually did a Let's Play of it, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing that one. I'm still playing it. Great fighter. Also, Pikmin 3. I recently bought that on Thursday, and what's really cool is Pikmin 3 was actually out of print. So the prices were going up tremendously online. But Nintendo released their Nintendo Select Greatest Hits line, and that was one of the games, so I got it for like $20 at Toys R Us. And it's Pikmin. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to finally play it. It's a game I've been wanting to play since I got my Wii U.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mostly, I picked up this really cool box set. Before on the show, we talked about the Alan Wake game, and I never played it. And I went out and got it after the show. I'd played kind of far, ended up losing my save file. It'd been a while, and I picked it up and started playing it again. But I was at the store the other day, and they had like the collector's edition set, which I'd never seen. It looks like a book. It's got the game, it's got the soundtrack, like a bonus disc, and a little book with it also. Just a really cool set. And when I bought the disc, like, it was just the disc anyway. So I figured into what I paid for that, and the set was like $34. It's like, I think that game's worth that. It's a really cool game. Been having fun going back through that again, and to finally hopefully beat it this time. And then I got a Japanese wrestling game, Virtual Pro Wrestling, and I've been playing that with my Game Shark on my 64, and it's a lot like the WCW NWO World Tour. So you have a lot of characters, your Hogan, Sting, a lot of the WCW roster is on this game, and as you go through the little different federations, it's cool as you win the belt and you unlock the characters just like on the World Tour. So I've unlocked like Andre the Giant, Terry and Dory Funk. I unlocked somebody that I'm not sure who he is because it's in Japanese. I'm pretty good at picking out who some of the guys are, but it's just kind of fun to go through. Still has that good AKI engine. It's fun to play, and I'm having fun going through and unlocking, the guys like I did on the old one, and look forward to getting to part 2. Part 2 of this series is, one of the most favorite of many people, and they say it's one of the best, and it still goes for $60 or more. So,
oh, wow.
I'd like to have that one at some point, but this one I only paid $10 for, so definitely worth it. Been having a blast playing that, and yeah, that's about the extent of what I've been doing too.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I'm hoping to play some more Pikmin today. And I want to, I also got that SpongeBob game. I wanted to check that out for the DS. Probably gonna play that a little bit later, but it's Sunday, so it's Walking Dead. I'll be watching Walking Dead tonight. But yeah, this is going to conclude another episode of XSGAMING Podcast. Now, if you guys are listening on Podomatic.com, be sure to check us out on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Xander Skullion. I'm going to be doing a pickups video very soon, talking about some of the games I've picked up recently and giving my first impressions, little short reviews on that. And also starting another channel as well called XS Talking. You can search that on YouTube, and it's pretty much a vlog channel. I've been talking about just random stuff off the top of my head, and I'm probably going to be doing some more bass covers or music covers and stuff like that. It's just something completely out of the realm of gaming, just so I can do other things as well. But anyway, guys, as always, thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a happy Easter, and as always, happy gaming.
Have a pleasant evening, everybody.